Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the reusable practicing riding of Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. Despite what they claim, for most progressives, the world is made up of simple binary choices. Something is either good or bad, with no in between. For example, turtles are good. Killing turtles is bad. Plastic pollution kills turtles. Plastic pollution is bad. People use plastic. People using plastic are bad. A ban on plastic is good. Liberals banned plastic. Liberals are good. That's about the extent of thinking that goes on in Trudeau's mind. When the Liberals got elected, they decided that they wanted to be seen to be doing good for the environment. Plastics have always been high on the hate list of radical environmentalists, so they promised to ban so-called single-use plastic. Trudeau made that promise before checking with the public service. When the Liberals asked the public service to make it so, poor bureaucrats had to explain in very simple terms why the federal government cannot do that. The public servants explained to Liberals that in Canada we have a constitution which states what the federal government can and must not do. The Liberals had a temper tantrum, stamped their feet, and demanded that they get what they want. Then someone suggested if plastic was classified as toxic, then the ban on single-use plastics would stick. The Liberals went ahead and labeled all plastics as toxic. That was the only constitutional way for them to ban single-use plastic items, such as shopping bags or straws. The federal government is only allowed to use its criminal law power to ban something in order to prevent harm. The problem is that plastic is not toxic. Not only was it obviously untrue, the government knows it's not true. Before a new pacemaker or surgical stent can be sold, it has to be approved by Health Canada. One of the requirements for that approval is the material to be used is non-toxic. So you have Environment Canada trying to claim all plastics are toxic, while Health Canada maintains a list of plastics non-toxic, plastics that they're safe to be inserted into your heart. Despite the fact claiming all plastics are toxic was not true, the Liberals went ahead and declared all plastics as toxic anyhow. The Liberals issued their press release, held their press conference, received unquestioning coverage from the paid-off media, and called it a win. A few months later, and with no media coverage, they released the regulatory impact statement. Longtime viewers might recall we love these regulatory impact statements. They're long and boring and full of technical jargon, which is why the media avoid them the same way vampires avoid sunlight. The Liberals know the media does not pay attention, so they don't care at all when the impact statements expose the fact that the Liberals are lying. The regulatory impact statement for their plastic ban said it would result in more carbon emissions, more landfill waste, and increased costs for consumers. And the Liberal politicians know this, but thanks to the propagandists at CBC and the Toronto Star, their voters don't know. These people believe Trudeau's lies. These voters really think that the plastic ban reduces the emissions and pollution. The problem for the Liberals was that despite their best efforts, we still live in a democracy. Plastic manufacturers took the Liberals to court and won easily. The judge saw clearly what the Liberals were doing and wasn't buying it. She ruled the plastic ban was unconstitutional. The Liberals appealed, and a hearing was held in June. A decision is expected soon, but it's almost certain the Liberals will lose, then waste more of your money taking it to the Supreme Court. The same Supreme Court that ruled the Liberals' environmental impact law was unconstitutional for the same reasons. Despite losing in the courts and knowing their plastic bans are bad for the environment, the Liberals are still moving ahead with their most wacko idea yet. They want to ban 95% of plastic packaging for food. This will cause the price of food to soar. It'll result in more food waste, more pollution, and more carbon emissions. Out-of-season fruits and vegetables will disappear from store shelves. So there go your fresh berries, fresh mushrooms, you'll have to buy them canned, and meat, as if meat wasn't expensive as it is already. Then we have your coffee, which you can still buy maybe for the same price, but you'll have that incredibly shrinking container. Then you can, your olive oil, you can still buy that in glass, but it's a few bucks more. Vitamins, again, that'll be a lot more. Goodbye to baby spinach in the wintertime because it'll just turn to mush in a plastic bag. And of course, dishwashing detergent. However, by the time the clean electricity regulations get into place, we won't be using dishwashers, even if there's a house full of company. Expectedly, the Liberal supporters have been trained to dismiss this as disinformation. But just like the ban on straws, the ban on food packaging comes with a regulatory analysis statement. Anyone can read it, but no Liberal voter will bother to because they'll never hear about it. Not from the CBC, at least. The only chance we have to get out the truth is like this, by using social media and asking you to like and share. One of the new talking points the Liberals and legacy media are working on is to get us to reveal our policies before an election. Clearly, the Liberals are desperately looking for any policy they can steal. But we keep telling them, if you want Canadians to like you again, the solution is not a new policy. The solution is to stop the bad policies. If the Liberals can't even wrap their heads around that. This is the difference between us and them. They think government is the solution to every problem. Any problem that it currently exists is only caused by the lack of government trying to solve the problem. It will never occur to them that sometimes government is the problem. These are the same people who love apologizing for the actions of previous Liberal governments. Forcing children to attend state-run schools was the very policy that gave birth to the so-called progressive movement in North America. We're all living with the consequences of their harm production policies. In 50 years, some future Liberal government will be apologizing for the pain caused by these harm production policies while somehow blaming Stephen Harper. Live from Ottawa, this is Cheryl Gallant.